In this episode, let me show you how I made this corrugated steel roofing for this barn to make it look a little more aged. Also, during this video, look for a 1-second clip of a photo of something to come in October. Watch close, you will recognize it, and leave a comment when you see it. Mike's HO scale, where modeling gets real. Because I'm on a budget, I like to make things myself if I can. So if you're a beginner or if you've been in it a while, come on along and maybe we can learn some tips and tricks together. As far as making corrugated roofing for HO scale goes, it's really difficult. And I tried several different methods. One of them is like this, just spreading glue on a piece of cardboard, and I'll spread toothpicks out on that. Spread them out in an evenly orderly fashion so it represents the grooves in the corrugated steel. It takes quite a bit to do this. I've seen this also done with stiff wire, where they did it in a similar fashion. Glued the wire down, similar to what I'm doing here, and on a second pad as well, and then just crushed the metal in between the two. It did a pretty good job, but I was trying to do something like that here, and it just did not work out very well, as you'll see. But the next step, while I'm letting this dry, is to create some of the tin itself. Now, to make the metal for the roof itself is pretty easy to do. As you can see, I just purchased some aluminum cooking pans from a Dollar General store. They were cheap enough, a couple of bucks, you could buy half a dozen of them. I cut the bottom out because it was the flattest part, and the ripples that you see are easy enough to clean up. Just smooth them out with a large popsicle stick or something, anything to smooth out those grooves. Worked really well. And then that created a nice sheet of material to work from. This stuff is a little bit heavier than your normal aluminum foil that you would get out of a roll. So that helped a lot, helped it to hold its form a little better. And from there, I could just do whatever I wanted with it. Now, after that toothpick base was dry, I took a large popsicle stick and just rounded the edges of one side, because this is where I was going to be crushing the roofing down, and I didn't want sharp edges on there. Took a little bit to do this, to really round off that piece of hardwood, but it was fine. Then I took the foil and cut it to the size that I needed. Again, this was just experimental, trying to figure out a procedure to make some good corrugated roofing. So I cut it in a strip that would fit my template there. Was about the size I was going to need anyway. And then I took the stick and crushed it down in between the toothpicks. Now, this was a little difficult to do, especially to keep track of each groove. It worked okay, but it was very time consuming, and the material wanted to roll up on me. It wouldn't keep its form, and had to do one at a time, so that made it even harder. It just didn't come out looking very well. And as you can see here, it didn't hold form well. It was just, the pattern wasn't good. I just did not like this at all. It was hard to work with. But then I discovered this handy little tool you see over on the left. I'll describe that in a minute. But first I cut the aluminum into strips that I needed to fit the barn you see at the top of the video here. Now, this was a pretty easy process. This worked out really well. And I can't take credit for this tool. I saw it on another YouTube channel. But it worked so well, I broke down and spent the money and just bought one. All it is a toothpaste squeezer. You run the foil through this and it makes the grooves just the right size for what I needed. It was a little struggle to figure out how to use this thing the way I wanted. And I shouldn't have used such a long strip like this because it rubbed against the side and ruined the effect. So that didn't work very well. But I figured out what to do with it after this. Since I had the size of each piece that I already wanted, it was easy enough to pre-cut the strips like this. I just cut each piece to the width that I wanted. I already had it measured out. And they were pre-cut already to the length that I wanted. So that it made it real easy just to go through them, make them all the same size, and then run them through the roller. Now running them through the roller was easy. I sped it up just to save some time, but they came out good, all evenly uniform. Then off to the paint booth. This was a little harder because each time I pushed the spray nozzle down, they wanted to fly away. I had to back the paint off so far that it was just a mist that covered them. But it worked out really well. And as you can see, once they're dry, I had a number of them to work with, and it turned out really well. So this is the barn I'm going to put the roofing on. I had to pull this piece off. It was sticking up. But I didn't like the look of the plastic roof. And so I want to cover it with metal. And I think I can make it look a lot better than it is. It's an old barn, a horse barn that I'm using on my setup. So let's take a look at how I did that. So now that I've got a number of pieces to work with, the rest of it was pretty easy. I used a hot glue gun. It worked the best. Stuck this material right to it and made a quick job of it. I chose this color green because, as I've told you before, I'm a fourth generation house painter. And my father and I painted a lot of metal roofs, and most people wanted them green. So you see a lot of green roofs like this in Vermont. The color came out well. It's a little shiny, but I'll deal with that later. I liked the way they lined up. Each piece overlapped, and it actually looked like it would if it was an old metal roof. But you'll see that in just a minute. Part of the thing I should have been more careful with is that these pieces stuck together real easy. While I was painting them, there were some that didn't get painted because they were stuck together, which was helpful. And here at the end, it was nice that I could just overlap all the pieces. I didn't have to cut anything, which would have deformed some of the metal. I just laid it over the top of each other. Worked out really well, liked that. Now this side piece, I didn't have any pieces long enough to do the whole thing, so doing it in two strips made it even more realistic because it put a seam right where there normally would be one. So that was really kind of a happy accident, I guess, because that worked out well too. So I really like the way this came out. Worked out well. The last thing I want to do is put a ridge cap on. That was easy to make too. I just cut the strip of metal that I needed the right length, bent it over the ruler there, and painted it. It creased just right. Put a little hot glue down and stuck that down, and it gave it kind of a finished look that I needed. So I was real happy with the way this is turning out. Of course, it's not finished. I needed a little detail. So I put some touches on here. On the other side, I highlighted the tools that were hanging on the side of the building. And then I'm highlighting the roller bar for the barn doors. Little details like this is very helpful, makes things look more realistic, and I like doing it too. I'm not real good at color. Another reason why I painted the roof green. I've seen some of the videos where you guys make rust color roofs. Those are amazing. They're really cool. But I chose to stay with something basic and standard that I knew, and I like the way it looks. It turned out fine. So one of the final things to do here was to give it a black wash. I wanted to cut the shine of the green and just dull the color a little, give it a little different color, like it had been there for a while. And I had thinned down some black paint here and applied it. It was still pretty thick. I was a little worried about it at first, but I kept taking a dry brush and cleaning it off as much as I could. You'll see me take another one here in a second. And it helped, and it began to look much better. So I tried it on the rest of it as well, because it was just coming out very well. Now these old buildings, or buildings like this, is what I like to get back to and weather them. Now that I've got a great deal of my layout completed, there's still much more to do, of course. But weathering things like this is something that I wanted to do with a lot of them to make them look more realistic. I'm not real good at it. Some of you guys are incredible at this stuff, and I'm learning a lot from you. And I try it, but I don't know if I'm not brave enough to try a rusted roof yet. I may try some of that off camera just to play with it and experiment with it, because it looks really cool. And I have a couple other buildings I want to try that on. But as you can see, this one's coming out pretty good. I'm liking the results. It's not hard to do. I should have thinned the black down a little more, and maybe you guys can tell me what more I should have done, a different color to add or something. Like I said, I'm not very good at colors, but I like trying different things just to make things look older. So you'll see it set in its location here in just a second, and I'll give you a shot of that. So let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time, and please subscribe. Thanks.